right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is March 11th, 2025, and we are coming off of one of the worst days in history for the Mag 7. Now, the good news, you actually were just up 0.5%. You just flipped red. You actually were just up half of me, but it was all off of basic relief rally sentiment. It's not as if anything developed. We are going to hear from Donald Trump and some tech CEOs at the White House today, but when it's all said and done, the volatility, the uncertainty, what did they call it? They call it a shock. The comments from Mr. Trump all the way down to the global uncertainty is freaking everybody out. So we'll see where it takes us here today. You did have a couple of earnings after the bell. There was even some updates here out of the airlines that everybody's talking about. So you're even coming into this morning with an idea that travel demand may be slowing, the consumer, all of that good stuff. But when it's all said and done, we already had some data here with the jolts. It didn't move much. Tomorrow is the big data with the CPI. And now we ask ourselves, does the momentum continue or not? Do you bounce or do you reprice everything and everybody panics? So, Chattadonia, I hope you're ready for it. It is only Tuesday, baby. But good morning. What's up, baby? What up, Dan? What up, Humble Business? NRJ Gunner, Todd Wise, Malcolm King, Zoraz, Tim Whitman, Laurie. Yay! Oh, good morning, baby. What's going on? How you doing, PNC? Good morning, Jamar. What up, Gus Gonzo, Gabor, Battleborn, QXO, Brown Tom Cruise, King Kong, Mitch Matsuno, Jay Yesko, Bushnell, Open Face Sandwich, baby. Good morning. What up, Riley? What up, Winston? Good morning, ETO. Good morning, Andrew, JM, Owen, Aloy, Mocha Man. What up, baby? What up, Graham? What up, Tom Smith? Tyler B, Godfather, Devin, Killer Toast, baby. What's going on? How you doing, Motivation? What up, Frankie? What up, Falcon? What up, Anthony? Mr. Marcus, how you doing, baby? What up, Eddie? Oh, my goodness. Chattadonia, oh, Lucky Soldier, Kurt McGurr, 7 Legal, baby. That's what I'm talking about. What about the Twitch? Swinging Bear, Stock Sasquatch, Rising or Ripping Snipe, Slop. How you doing, Pedo? What up, Senor? Dio, Cleo, Toy Soldier, Iron Beagle, Blowing Dough, Robo Hand Tech, and Cleo again. Well, what up, baby? Good morning. So, Chattadonia, I hope you are ready. Should be a fun one. I mean, yesterday was literally historic, so we'll see how the follow-up day 2 ends up being. But in the meantime, here is Josh AI with the news, my friend. Traders search for havens as U.S. stocks sell-off rattles nerves. From ditching U.S. stocks for Chinese peers to buying the yen and the euro, traders are running for cover as they ponder how a U.S. market's meltdown may unfold. Steady selling in U.S. stocks turned into a stampede on Monday as recession jitters spread across Wall Street, risk aversion spilled into Asia, and growing conviction that U.S. exceptionalism is over spurred a rush into the relative safety of the yen, Australian government bonds, and the offshore yuan. And it's been a dizzying turn of events for investors accustomed to years of U.S. tech gains and a resurgent dollar. A $1.1 trillion sell-off in the NASDAQ 100 Monday underscores how President Donald Trump's America First policies have paradoxically spurred a shift away from U.S. assets. The euro has jumped about 7% from a February low, while a gauge of Chinese stocks in Hong Kong is up 20% this year. Markets right now are like Olympic level tennis, except we traders are the ball, said Calvin Yeo, portfolio manager at hedge fund Blue Edge Advisors PTE in Singapore. Yeo likes long dated treasuries and is bearish on U.S. stocks, though with moderate commitment amid volatile markets. A dollar gauge edged lower on Tuesday and treasuries were mixed. Pierre Chartre at M&G Investments said government bonds in developed countries are a good risk-off hedge. In Europe, a seismic shift in the region's stance on defense spending, with Germany leading a push for billions of euros of investment, has reignited bets on steeper yield curves. In the FX market, it spurred upgrades on the euro's path and has already pushed the currency to around $1.09, the highest since November. U.S. exceptionalism is starting to unravel. You want to preserve capital in this environment, said Kelly Wood, money manager at Schroders PLC that oversees over $1 trillion globally. The fund last month flipped from buying the dollar to favoring the yen and euro and is bullish on short-dated treasuries and Australian government debt, she said. The Swedish krona has also benefited from Germany's plans to ramp up defense spending, given the nation's military industry is seen as a major beneficiary of any funding increase. It's up 7.5% against the dollar so far this month, the best performing group of 10 currency. China overweight, and the pivot has been clear in stocks, where rising fears of a slowdown fueled a 3.8% plunge in the NASDAQ 100 on Monday, the biggest one-day drop since 2022. NASDAQ futures climbed on Tuesday. Economic data give credence to the worries. U.S. unemployment rose to 4.1% in February, while consumer spending fell by the most in nearly 4 years in January. Comments by Trump that the U.S. could face a period of transition, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's remarks that there could be a detox period are also encouraging traders to reduce U.S. exposure. Strategists and money managers are rewriting their playbooks. George F. Stathopoulos, a portfolio manager at Fidelity International, added German midcaps late Monday, betting on the country's fiscal stimulus to help the industrial sector. Citigroup Inc. downgraded U.S. equities to neutral from an overweight position, while simultaneously upgrading China to overweight. Morgan Stanley Investment Management favors companies and countries in Southeast Asia, while T. Rowe Price Group Inc. and Aberdeen Investments like European stocks. The developments are only adding to two-decade market veteran Li Minghong's conviction that much of the valuation boost in U.S. stocks has been froth, and that offshore Chinese shares offer better value. And as global investors retreat from U.S. stocks, one obvious destination where valuations are still recovering from a trough is China, said Li, a fund manager at Beijing Yikun Asset Management Company. An index of China's 7 tech heavyweights, including Alibaba Group Holding Limited and Tencent Holdings Limited, has rallied more than 30% this year, while a gauge tracking the Magnificent 7 stocks has lost 15%. Caution is also prevailing at Emmer Capital Partners Limited in Hong Kong, where Manishi Raychaudhuri sees increased volatility for all risk assets. The single most important dampener is President Trump's apparent lack of concern about how the economy or the stock market does in the near term, said Raychaudhuri, chief executive officer at Emmer Capital. U.S. Treasuries, money market funds, and some investment-grade bonds in Asia seem to be the only hiding places in the near term. Trump to address top CEOs, Wall Street bank executives Tuesday. The meeting with the Washington-based Business Roundtable is set to include chief executives from around the country, including the bosses of Wall Street lending giants, according to people familiar with the matter. Representatives for the Business Roundtable and the White House declined to comment. Citi downgrades U.S. stocks while Wall Street set to pause sell-off. U.S. exceptionalism is at least pausing for the coming few months, Citi strategists, including Dirk Willer, wrote in a note. The news flow from the U.S. economy is likely to undershoot the rest of the world in coming months. They added the neutral take on U.S. stocks is over a 3 to 6 month time frame, and more negative U.S. data prints are expected. Willer and his team wrote. A team at HSBC Holdings PLC also cut U.S. equities to neutral on Monday, saying it sees better opportunities elsewhere for now. Musk says entitlement's big one to cut in Trump's Doge push. Billionaire presidential advisor Elon Musk called entitlement spending, including Social Security and Medicare, a key target for cuts, arguing the federal programs are plagued by fraud. Musk, who is guiding President Donald Trump's government downsizing effort, said Monday that entitlements with annual budgets of hundreds of billions of dollars were ripe for steep reductions. He made unproven claims about benefits, including the Democrats use them to attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters. He also said there are widespread payments to dead people, and most of the federal spending is entitlements, Musk said in an interview with Fox Business's Larry Kudlow. So that's like the big one to eliminate. The U.S.-China tariff talks stuck at lower levels, stoking frustration. Talks between the U.S. and China on trade and other issues are stuck at lower levels, people familiar with the matter said, with both sides talking past each other and failing to agree on the best way to proceed. While representatives from the two countries have had contact, officials in Beijing say the U.S. hasn't outlined detailed steps they expect from China on fentanyl in order to have the tariffs lifted, according to the people who asked not to be identified. The second wave of duties imposed last week took working-level officials on both sides by surprise. Top overnight news: the Trump administration is prepared to enforce sanctions on Iranian oil production, Energy Secretary Chris Wright said. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also discussed pressure on Iran with his Saudi counterpart BBG. Washington and Beijing have begun discussions about a potential birthday summit in June in the U.S. between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The latest talks on a potential summit in the month when both leaders celebrate birthdays signal a willingness from both sides to inject some goodwill in the relationship amid trade tensions that have unsettled markets and businesses. WSJ: talks between the U.S. and China on trade and other issues are stuck at lower levels, people familiar with the matter said, with both sides talking past each other and failing to agree on the best way to proceed. While representatives from the two countries have had contact, officials in Beijing say the U.S. hasn't outlined detailed steps they expect from China on fentanyl in order to have the tariffs lifted. Trump's team rejects the assertion that it hasn't given clear demands on fentanyl. BBG, the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus, backed a stopgap funding package, bolstering Speaker Mike Johnson's attempt to pass the bill without the help of House Democrats and avert a government shutdown on March 15th. BBG. Musk says Doge is embedded in nearly every government agency, and he wants to double headcount at the group as he ramps cost-cutting initiatives throughout the federal government. NBC: Oracle shares fell pre-market after reporting lackluster results and a profit forecast that missed. BBG: airlines cutting guides, Dow minus 11% in pre-market, lowered 1Q guidance last night, guided EPS to 30 cents, 50 cents versus 70 cents $1 prior, worse than expected, driven by domestic, consumer, and corporate. Love minus 2.75% in pre-market on light volume, lowers Q1 RASM guide to plus 2.4% on capacity, down tilde 2% versus prior RASM guide of plus 5.7%. Roughly 1 PT of decrease is due to higher than expected completion factor, less government travel, and a greater impact from the California fires. The remainder of the decrease is primarily attributable to softness in bookings and demand trends as the macro environment has weakened. The BOJ probably won't raise rates until June as it looks to maintain a pace of one hike every 6 months, despite recent speculation of an earlier move, former official Kazuo Mama said. BBG: Ukraine launched its biggest drone attack on Moscow, targeting the Russian capital and other regions, hours before a Tuesday meeting between senior U.S. and Ukrainian officials to discuss ways to bring an end to the war after more than 3 years of fighting. Was WSJ. There's a more. Good morning. S&P futures, they are little changed on Tuesday morning, well off the best levels. Comes after U.S. equities sold off sharply on Monday, with the S&P suffering its worst year-to-date performance for the third time in the last 6 sessions, and the Nasdaq falling the most since 2022. The S&P is now down 8.5% from the February high. Treasuries unchanged to slightly firmer. Dollars down by 0.3. Gold is up by 0.7, and Bitcoin is up by 2.5. Back above 80,000 after Monday's 9% slump. WTI is up by 1. Market tried to bounce earlier with oversold conditions, the go-to excuse. While desks have not flagged meaningful capitulation, they have highlighted heavy systematic selling. CTA is now said to be short and some LO liquidation. However, a lot of talk about how bounces should be faded in Trump 2.0 policy uncertainty. Signs that policy uncertainty is starting to filter through to the economy. Delta negative pre-announcement on the big area of focus today, and increasingly out of the money Trump put. Multiple compression, negative earnings revisions, sticky inflation, and cracks in the U.S. exceptionalist trade. Small business optimism fell by 2.1 in February to 100.7, though marked the 4th consecutive month above the 51-year average of 98. However, uncertainty index rose another 4 points to 104, the second highest reading on record. JOLTS job openings also on the economic calendar today. Treasury selling $58 billion of 3-year notes. In addition, Trump meeting with CEOs. White House to vote on legislation that would keep the government funded. Wednesday brings the February CPI report and $39 billion of 10-year notes. PPI claims and $22 billion of 30 years scheduled on Thursday, and Friday preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Oracle fiscal Q3 and Q4 guide light, but takeaways flag capacity constraints and talked up strong RPO growth and continued AI momentum. Delta under pressure after negatively pre-announced for Q1, noting recent reduction in consumer and corporate confidence caused by increased macro uncertainty. AAL also lower on weaker guidance. Love cut Q1 RASM, but stocks helped by cost cut plan, bag fees, and acceleration of $2.5 billion buyback. JetBlue higher on unchanged RASM guidance. DKS up, beat and boosted capital return, but guide below. Coal missed, guided well below, and cut dividend. MTN fiscal Q2 EBITDA beat, while Q3 session and season to date visits down. Management flag shift to spring. Verizon flag difficulty competitive backdrop in Q1. FERG lowered margin guidance. CNB and margin performance to stand out. Illumina helped by cost cut saving plans to dampen the impact of weaker China. ASAN down on big margin upside, overshadowed by CEO succession plan and softer growth outlook. And then UNFI beat and raised. Fiverr boosted buyback. Wow, there's more. Markets rattled by economic slowdown fears fueled by tariffs and spending cuts. Wall Street starting to fear that Trump will wreck soft landing for the U.S. economy. Speculative corners of the market routed as investors flee to high-quality assets. Goldman Sachs says hedge funds unwinding risk as early days of COVID pandemic. Citi downgrades U.S. stocks on exceptionalism doubts, upgrades China. PBOC dials back yuan support amid doubts over U.S. exceptionalism. Trump to meet CEOs on Thursday amid growing business alarm over tariffs and economic slowdown. NEC Director Kevin Hassett downplays U.S. recession concerns. Tariff panic across Wall Street puts pressure on Trump to push sweeping tax cut bill. U.S. economy downgraded by Goldman on negative tariff impact. Despite lobbying efforts, no reprieve from steel tariffs in sight. Builders stockpile lumber and swap out materials to work around tariffs, but face high storage costs. Interior Secretary Burgum weighs restarting shuttered coal-fired power plants in bid to boost electricity supply. China consumption boost plan of $41 billion just as start of deflationary pressures deepen. Japan Q4 GDP revised down amid household consumption weakness. Japan Trade Minister double downs on requests for exemption from U.S. tariffs. UK consumer spending slows in February despite rising confidence. Australia consumer confidence rises following rate cut and business confidence negative. Delta earnings downgrade heightens concerns about travel. Oracle misses, but AI momentum building. Tesla has worst day in 4 years amid a growing backlash over Elon Musk political allegiances. OpenAI strikes $12 billion deal with CoreWeave, signing 5-year contract ahead of its hotly anticipated stock market launch. NVIDIA challengers seizing new opportunities to crack dominance of AI chips after DeepSeek shakeup. Apple preparing major software overhaul that will fundamentally change OS appearance. Elon blames X outage on massive cyber attack. Sources say Apple Meta likely to face Europe modest fines over DMA breaches. DeepSeek owner does not want new shareholders for the moment. Volkswagen projects flat profitability for 25 amid trade tensions and muted demand. Trump admin in talks with China about setting up Trump G summit in June. Rubio says U.S. may resume aid to Ukraine if it commits to peace. Kyiv must cede territory for peace. Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff planning to meet Putin in Moscow later this week following U.S.-Ukraine summit. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says administration prepared to enforce sanctions on Iranian oil. Trump envoy Bowler tells Israeli television Hamas is willing to disarm, drawing criticism from Israeli officials. House Republicans set up vote today for legislation that would keep the government funded and avert a partial shutdown. House Freedom Caucus supports the stopgap funding bill, increasing prospects of averting the shutdown on March 15th. Sources say Trump seeks mineral refining on Pentagon bases to boost U.S. output, and Musk says he plans to double DOGE staff amid federal government cuts. That's ironic. He's hiring more people because his job is to fire people. No? Okay. Are we going to buy Teslas today like Donald Trump? Why don't we just squeeze this stock and buy a bunch of out-of-the-money puts? I already own 3 Teslas, and I don't know, but before it was cool. Before it was Republican, I bought them. So I don't know how to describe it. But either way, Chatadonia, I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're blessed here. It's going to be an interesting one again. You were up by 0.5% at one point. It was just all relief, just general relief. The momentum, you're not really getting too much driving you. So we'll see where that leads us, but I got some plays for you, my friends. So pre-market movers, Southwest, again, you've heard a lot about airlines. They're up by 8.9, implementing bag fees and guidance. AU is up by 3. GEHC is up 2.7. Goldman upgrade. CVE is up by 2.2. Capital One up 1.9. Baird upgrade. IoT is up by 1.7. Strategic partnership to integrate safety solutions with Hyundai. ETN is up by 1.4. Signs agreement to acquire Fibrabond Corporation for $1.4 billion. CN up 8.8 off earnings. TXNM is up 8.6. Bloomberg reports exploring sale after receiving takeover interest. Pay is up by 7.4 off earnings. HSAI up 7.4 off earnings. UNFI is up by 4.9 off earnings. Sezzle 3.6, 6-for-1 stock split, 50 million share repurchase. JetBlue 3.4 guidance. CDE is up by 3.3. TD Cowen initiates buy. Light up 3.2. BMP upgrade. Beam up 3.1. Multiple upgrades. Unity up 2.6. Citizens JMP upgrade. BBWI is up by 2.1. Reaffirms Q1 guidance in full year. TSVT up 76. BMY to acquire for $5 a share. BVS up 26 off earnings. MYO up 21 off earnings. PLRX up 13. Holder Tang Capital discloses 9% stake. MGIC up 7, enters MOU with respect to proposed merger. EVTL 5.2 off earnings. AISP is up by 4.5, 50 million mixed shelved. RCAT is up by 3.6. Northland Capital initiates outperform. Chinese ADRs trading higher. Bitcoin trading higher, trading lower. Delta, ALK, JetBlue. Ferg is down 6.5 off earnings. Arquite down 5.5 off nothing. DKS down 5.2 off earnings. Expedia down 3.2. Travel names lower following Dow guidance cut. Verizon down 2.2. Comments on Q1 date trends of Deutsche Bank and competition. Airbnb down 1.8 on Delta. Uber down 1.6 on Delta. Hilton down 1.6 off Delta. Disney down 1.4 off Delta guidance. Oracle down 1.4 earnings raises dividend. ARVN down 40. Top line results phase 3. ASON down 25 to conduct search for new CEO. Redfin down 9. B. Riley downgrade. LCII down 3.4 private placement. AAL down 3.4 off guidance. VKTX manufacturing agreement with Codan Pharma down 2.1. And then RDW down 14. FCell down 11. And then ORMP down 5. Wow. Chatadonia. How you feeling, baby? That's a lot of plays. That's a lot of info. It's going to be, again, today, there's way less. So, yesterday you were just going off of comments and what was it? Detox. That's the word that people didn't like from Donald Trump. Detox. They did not like to hear that, but at the end of the day, today is just going to be going back and forth and setting up for the data, but it really is all about the momentum and levels. So I hope you are locked in, and the best way to get locked in, baby, every single morning, we pay homage to the greats. We pay homage to those who deserve it. We pay homage to those who made the sacrifice that have paved the way for us to be here right now and enjoying our freedom. And I am talking about the veterans of the United States of America. That's why right here at the Cult, baby, before we do anything, before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to those who made that sacrifice. And above all else, man, I don't know if y'all realized it, we have a culture in here. It really boils down to the culture, everything from what will get you banned to not. And this is a culture I think is pivotal, because if you can't understand this, I don't think you'll understand me. If you can't respect the freedom you have and you can't pay homage to those who sacrificed literally everything for your freedom, I don't think you're going to understand what we're doing here, man, because that is very important. And I really hope all of you in real life, this ain't just internet stuff. You better bring this into real life. Every opportunity you have, if you could show love to the veterans, bring that love and support. If you have skills and talents and can help them out, you better do it, because this is real and we would not be here without them. So veterans, the families, thank you for everything you guys have given. Thank you for all of the sacrifices. I don't even think some of the stuff you guys have lost could ever be repaid. So I hope you know your honor, love, and everything, man. We would not be here without you, and it is all valuable and important, and you have all had an impact. So veterans, thank you for my freedom and all of the freedom of everybody in here. We wouldn't be here without y'all. So big ups, baby. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. All the doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men. Anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, no, let's go. Oh, Chattadonia. Do you feel it? Are you ready? Are you woke? You better wake up. I was so tired this morning that daylight savings hit me, and then after I got my poop out the way, I was ready to go. Oh, I don't know if they feel me. So, Chattadonia, get ready. Today could be either very boring or, like, very wild, because there's no real driver, but you still have elevated volatility. So I hope you guys are ready, baby. But that being said, God bless America. Thank you to the veterans, baby. I hope you know we love you, man. And please, let's get y'all a VA loan. Let's get you guys a long-term. Y'all deserve it. Oh, baby. So God bless you and thank you. But now we must go to general population. Are you guys ready? We're moving to Gen Pop. That's it. Game time. Game time. Go ahead. Make sure you tell them to like the video in Gen Pop. You guys are good for now. But all right, baby. I love you. God bless America. God bless America.